All right, so we got all the bracket welds grinded off of the two pieces of pipe here. And what we're going to do is, instead of just buttoning them up and welding them together, since it's a thinner material, is I'm going to take this piece of pipe that I cut off of it about 2 foot, and I'm gonna slit it down the middle, and I'm gonna make it a size smaller where to go inside of this pipe, and I'm gonna let it run inside of here about 1 foot, and I'm gonna take me a drill, and I'm gonna drill me some holes, and I'm just gonna spot weld it inside of there to make it a little bit stronger. Um, but first, what I need to do, I need to get all this here coating off of it, so it'll have a good seal in there, and I won't be adding all that coating and that paint and all that thick mess in there. So first thing I'm gonna do is take all this mess off of here. All right, that's the majority of it off of it. Every speck of it ain't off, but the majority of it's off, and that's what we want. Is just the majority. We can come back and sand a little bit more. But this is the same size pipe as I cut off of here, so obviously it's not going to just slide back up in there. So what I'm gonna have to do is slit it and kind of fold it over some and take some out of one side to get it to roll over and reduce the size to get it to go inside. So I'm trying to make a kind of a tight fit. I don't want it in there real loose. I want it to be tied up against the side. So I'm gonna go on the inside here, and I'm gonna kind of clean some of that surface rust that's up in there. This thing here is about what, 23 inches, so it's roughly gonna be close to 1 foot, 11.5 inches or so in the inside of each side. So I need to come about all the way to here and try to clean some of that little loose stuff off in there. All right. That's pretty good. So I got an outside diameter of roughly 8 inches and an inside diameter of roughly 7 3/4 would be tight. So if I was somewhere about 7 5/8, where I could move it in and out a little bit, 7 3/4, you probably could beat it in there, but that pipe's got a seam in it right there where it's been seamed together. So it's going to push it up on one side. So what I need to do is I need to make this pipe go I need to make it go from 8 inches outside edge to 7 3/4 outside edge. So what I need to do is get me a flat spot to sit it. And I'm gonna just cut it down the middle. And I want to cut a kind of straight line as I can. And I ain't gonna measure it. I'm just gonna eyeball it and just run with it. And that's crooked. All right, so the width of that blade is only about 1/8 of an inch. Let's just see what it closed up when you take 1/8 of an inch out. So it barely closed up at all. So what I need to do is probably take about 1/2 inch out. I need to take anywhere from 3/8 to 1/2 inch out. We're going to stick us a new blade on here. This one here is about gone, and we're going to come right beside of that cut, and we're going to make another cut about 3/8 of an inch. I may just go 1/2. That way I'm pretty sure it's going to move what I need, because it'll be, if I go 3/8 and then I try to cut a little more, it's going to be hard to cut that small. We'll just estimate about 1/2 inch. So it's getting there. Let me get my clamp right quick. Let's see about what happens here. That's getting close, but not quite. I need just a little bit more out of it. All right, so we've got I think we got it where it should just about go in there. I want to get some of that sharp mess out of there, because it'll come back and rub your finger down through there and it'll cut the mess out of you like a razor blade. All right, it should go in there this time. Still not quite. This pipe's got some flat spots on it. We trim just a hair more. All right, that's definitely up to fit there. Now I could have took a bunch off at one time and made one cut, and being 100%, it fit right in there. But then you cut too much and it don't fit tight, or you got to fight with it. That's what it is. It ain't completely round. I think that end might be up a little bit. Try a different spot. All right, so it's pretty tight fit like that. What I want to do, I'm just going to take the pipe here. I'm going to stand it up. I'm sure there's some rust and stuff in there. So I need to cut it back down a little bit more before I beat it in there too much and can't get it out. It tries to tighten up when it hits that rust. So what I did was just open it up just a little bit more. And we're going to put it in there about where we want it, which is going to be somewhere about 11 and a half. Anywhere in that range. Okay, that's about 11 and a half right there. So what I'm gonna do is come here and drill me a couple holes and put me a couple spot welds, not that much. And then I'm gonna tack it up on the inside here. And then once I get it in the other pipe, I'll do the same thing, and then I'll weld it solid. And then we got all this here that kind of helps that pipe from being able to bend in this area any kind of way. Just to strengthen it up. I didn't have to do it like that, but it's easier to do it like that while it's on the ground, and than it is to wait till I got it up in the air and storm come through and something start pushing on something. The next thing I know, something's bent or broke in half. So I don't necessarily want to drill through both pipes. I only want to drill through one. And I don't have to put a bunch of them in there. I'll put 3 or 4 around it. That'll be plenty. So I'll come back about 2 inches from the end there. All right, so I'll end up getting me about a 1/2 inch hole in there. And I might see, let's slide this back out now. That way we're sure we don't drill through our other hole, other pipe. All right, I'm gonna find one more bit, just a little bit bigger. And that'll be good enough. We'll see if this one here cut. I think this one got hot the other day. All right, so you still can't just slide it in there and weld it anyway, because it could be tilted a little bit one way or another, and then when you slide your other piece in there, your pipe's going to be leaning on an angle. So you want to get it as close as you can. And we're going to see if we can find us a little thin piece of metal here somewhere. Right here, something about the same thickness of that pipe. That way we know we still got the right gap up under there. So we got the same gap there and same gap there. So what we're going to do here is we're going to tack weld it to start with. Put them breakers on. So we're about where we need to be as far as the settings. So we'll tack it, and then we'll roll it around. We'll try to get as close as we can. And then once we put them together, it would have probably been best to put it in a long one, but I guess it really don't matter. Either way, you got to get it pretty close. But we just want to tack it. We don't want to get it super hot where we can't move nothing. Get one little spot. We roll it around. You still can beat on it and move it just a little bit if you don't put a whole lot of weld on it. It should be pretty close because I cut that pipe. I cut it to fit pretty tight. So if it's off, it ain't going to be off much. And if we have to, when we slide it on the other pipe, then we run us a string line down it. If we have to, I'll slit that pipe if I need to straighten it up and weld it back. But I want to get it halfway close before I even get to that point. And there it could go down just a hair. Yeah. You wouldn't think it would make that much, but just to slide it a little bit out over the length of a piece of pipe, when you start talking about 20 foot, it make a whole lot of difference. So I'm gonna tighten this one up, then we're gonna flip it around and we're gonna join them together. All right, so we're gonna leave it just like that, and then we're gonna get our other piece, and we'll smash it in where we need it smashed in at. We'll get it to fit in there. Yep. I should have got them both in there, but we'll make it work. Let's go. All right, so this is what we got here. We come back with the piece that we cut and split. We put it on the inside. So now what we want to do is close this up and leave us about a 1/2 inch gap in between there to end up welding it back together solid. So we're going to weld this inside piece and the two caps together at one time. So we need to get it to go in about 7 or 8 inches more and put us a string line on it and try to get it as tight as we can. All right, so we'll take a look at it, because if we beat it in, it's going to be hard to get it back out. So we don't want to beat it in no more than we need it. We want to make sure we got it where we want it. And then we want to. So I'm going to call that good. I can weld that up. That's about 3/8 of an inch. That'll give me something to weld to on both sides. And then I can weld them together and grind it back down. So we're going to call that good. Now what we need to get is I need to get a string line, and I need to get a way that I can hold the string line the exact width that I need. So give me a minute. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna come right here and I'm gonna put me a string line on the top of this piece of wood here, and I'm gonna do the same on the other end. And the reason I don't put it dead on the metal is because if it touches the metal somewhere, it's gonna throw you off. So you got to have it where it ain't touching at all. And then you got to have your a little, what you call a little grater stick, where you come back and you check it and you get it to where you need it to be. And this is just something I'm going to do right quick to help. There's all different ways you can do to get it straight. You use a laser, you use some kind of straight rod. There's several different ways, but this is what I got around here right quick to do it with. And if you pull a string line tight, it's going to be straight. So I need me 2 more little short pieces of wood if you find them. This is getting down to the last parts of what you got to be built. We're fixing to start putting everything together. And we won't have to build anything else from scratch. We just got to clean it up and put it back together. So, same thing here. We'll take this board. We'll just screw right down the top of that board. And you want to get as close to the center as you can get, because if you're not in the center, you got to be dead in the center with your string line. If you ain't in the center, that pipe is going to taper off to the edge, and you're going to get a false reading. So what we want to do, we want to get this string real tight. That's about 27 foot or 26 foot. So We want to come back over here and adjust this and get this down in the center. Right in the center. That one down there needs to get over some. All right, that's pretty close to the center right there. So the next thing you need is a gauge board, which would just be a piece of 2x4, little short piece. All this here is just to gauge that string line down through there, see what needs to happen, and we may need to tighten the string line up a little bit. You see that there? I'm a good 1/8 of an inch lower than my string. So that would tell me that the middle of that thing needs to go up. See, I'm way low here. I need to tighten that string way up. That's way too loose. So what we got to do is we got to get that string tighter than that. It's sagging, and that ain't gonna work. They make a string called jet line string. We used to use it when we was doing metal framing and stuff. It's a real thin string. It's real thin. You can pull it super tight, and it don't have a lot of weight to it, so it don't sag. But I've been out of the metal framing for a long time, and I ain't got no jet line string. All I got is, go down there and hold that piece of wood down where it can't move. All I got is masonry string, and we're gonna make it work. Just hold it tight where it can't move. And we're going to try to stretch this masonry string about 3 foot. And that should get it tight. All right, just looking at it, it looks pretty tight. We're still down. We're still down. Way down. So what needs to happen? And down a 1/4 inch here. We're good here. Right here is where it starts to go bad right here. Yep. So that one's kicked up, that one's kicked down. It needs to go down. All right, so it definitely needs to go down. Lift up on this one. Needs to go back up. See, we're a 1/4 low now. a quarter low. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take one of these bottle jacks and a 4x4. We'll take, yeah. We're going to take this bottle jack here. We're going to get us a little piece of something that'll fit under there, probably about 18 inches. We'll take this board. We're going to slide it right up under the center. We ain't going to get on the joint, but we're going to get right here in the center of that pipe. All right, so what we want to do now is we'll take this board and you got to make sure that your string line is touching the wood. You want that board setting flat, and you want the string line to be touching the wood. So we're going to get us a pair of clamps just to make sure that board don't come up. All right, so we got that one clamped down. Same thing on the other end. We want to make sure it's down, because if it's up just a little bit, it'll mess you up. That's the whole trick, is to be able to have that wood touching and them boards flat on both ends. Otherwise, this process don't work. So we want to come here, right here, we're barely touching the string. We want to barely be touching that string. Barely touching. See, we're a little low right here, so we need to come up. Well, not much, but we need to come up. We'll take that bottle jack, we'll bring it up right there. Brody! Brody! Then we'll run right on down here. We good. We good. So normally, if you get it right there at the joint, the rest of it's going to be good as long as your pole is straight. So if this pole is straight, which it was pretty straight already, because it was, you know, we'll double check it just for the kicks of it, but everything looks good here. Barely touching the line. Same here. Everything is good. So normally if you get it right there at the joint, you know, where the string line is, all of it will be good and you'll be straight. And then it comes to where you want to weld it at. And it could go up just a tad more. And I mean just a tad, but it's probably all right. Best we'll just leave it right there. So once you get it to that point, we still ain't done. You still can't weld it up. You got to go around all four sides. So you would pretty much join this up. This side and the back side is going to be good, but this side, where it be a 90-degree angle, it still could be off a little bit there. So we're going to need to mark this top and then roll it around 90 degrees and check it again there before we weld it up. And we can put a little tack on it here where it don't go back down. So if you welded it on the top, then if you take the pressure off of it, that top can bend and that bottom will spread open. So to keep this thing from moving, where it needs to be welded is on the bottom. So the bottom can't bend up and let it move. So if you welded it on the top and you let the jack down, all it would do was drop right back down. So we don't need to weld it on the side, because we might need to go one way or another. And we don't need to put a whole lot of weld on the bottom. And it might be best to check that side right now before we even weld anything at all. So that's probably what I need to do, is just roll that string line around and check it before I move it, in case I do need to do something different. So we know we're good right there where we at. We're going to get us a mark with a white paint marker. We don't want nothing to move, and nothing ain't going to hardly move, but we're just going to mark right there where we split the joint at, right there. So we know everything lines back up to there. This ain't going to move. All this has been welded. This here, we don't want it to twist either. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go on the top, basically, and I'm going to make me a little mark here. Well, that's a big mark. Something wrong with the raggedy pins. I'm going to make me a little mark about where my string line's at. And it ain't got to be perfect. It's just a marker, just an identification to get about back where I was at if I need to move it. Just a little dot, 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 dot. And this is going to kind of help me figure out where my 90 degree is. So 90 degree from there is probably going to be right here somewhere, which would be 4 inches down. Whatever 4 inches is, that would be your 90 degree if it's an 8-inch pipe. So 4 inches will be about here. That's roughly close to 90. So all you got to do is 2 sides and it'll be straight, as long as your pipe is straight. So we'll take this back down here. We'll roll this around. We'll call that 90. We'll just take that string line there and put it right here where this white mark's at. We'll call that 90. It'll be close. And then we'll just do the same thing. We'll just come through here with that board, and we'll just see how far we are away from the tip of that board. We got to make sure that we are touching the wood. Right there, that string ain't touching that wood. And we'll put the clamp on it. Make sure we're touching the wood, and we'll take this board. Same thing, we'll just slip it up under there. We'll come down here and we'll see what it looks like. If it's pretty close, we won't mess with it. And it looks like it could go back that way just a hair. Not much, but just a hair. It's so close that we won't want to mess with it. Well, it's off a little bit. because I got a little bit of a gap here and I'm tight down there. So, yeah, got a little bit of a gap. Well, we're off the hold. Take your finger and hold that on that string for me. Just hold your thumb on that right there on the tip. Hold it in there. So the string was off just a hair, but it's still about a 1/16 of an inch away from the board. 1/16 of an inch. And then I get down here and I'm getting tight to the board. So when I get here, I'm getting tight. Right here, I'm tight to the board, which would say it needs to kick around that way just a little bit. But I need something to solid blow hammer to make it do it. So I could probably weld it up there and you wouldn't really tell no difference in it being that little bit. But if we can get it over more, I'd rather get it over where it needs to be at. And we want to check here before we get out of hand, make sure we on that 4-inch mark too. So that 4-inch mark it'll throw you out if you off of that 4-inch mark too. So pretty close to the 4-inch mark. We'll check it one more time. So it would say it needed to cock in that way just a hair if you were to come here. Let's see. Yep. All right, so we think we got it pretty straight with the string line. Well, I know I got it pretty straight with the string line. I don't think I know I got it straight with the string line. But what I want to do here now is I want to go ahead and tack it up just a little bit at a time. I don't want to try to get the thing hot, because when you try to get it hot, you start getting it hot. It'll pull on you. So where you had it straight, it won't be straight anymore. So we're just going to tack just a little bit. It don't matter how long it takes to do it, but we don't want to get it hot. We don't want it to try to move. Once we get it where it can't move, then we'll start welding on it. So, gone. Take my glove off, it's gone. Whatever I take off, I got to waste time trying to look for it. But we're going to get it done and get the mess back in order here shortly, hopefully. But I could have went and bought a pole somewhere, but I already had some stuff to make a pole with. So that was the whole point of making this here sign and mailbox, was to build it out of pretty much what I already had. Not be buying a whole lot of stuff. There's some stuff I had to buy, but just pretty much build it out of whatever you got. So let's tack it up. Okay, it's still good. String come up down there on the other end a little bit. So we'll go through here and we'll fill these little holes up that we drilled, these 1/2-inch holes too. And then there's no way it can move. It's back one solid piece again. And just say, for example, I got down there and stood it up. I could tell it had a little bend or something in it. What I would do is go back and cut it again and push it over and wheel it back. But we don't want to have that bend. We don't want to have to do that. But if it did have a bend in it, you still could fix it. All right, we'll let that cool a minute, and then we'll roll it over, and we'll do the other side a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll do it again. Yep. What you call string line straight. So this is going to be a flagpole, and a security light holder. And I got a part of a muffler that's going to have some lights on it that we ended up cutting up. We cut it up. We used some parts of it to build something else with. And then what pieces I had left, I welded it back together. And we're going to make a little top to go on top of this pole here with it. All right, so we'll let that sit there and cool a few minutes. And then we'll roll it over. In the meantime, on the way up here, bringing the thing up here from over there, over here, set it down, hydraulic line busted on the machine right there where it sits at. So we got another project here to work on. It's a small line about as big around as your pinky, but it's wrapped all down up under mess, and you can't even see where the other end goes. So that'd probably be a little fun project there to get that line out and get it back going. So that's the way it works when you got a bunch of mess. You can't get done one project before you got 2 or 3 more that need work done to them. So it's a never-ending story when you got a bunch of stuff and you just got a small amount of person that works on them, which I work on all this equipment, all these trucks, and it's one thing after another. When one thing breaks, something else is just about to break or getting ready to break. Before you can get done with one, you got 2 more. But one day I'm gonna walk out the door and I'm gonna sell everything. I'm gonna just say for sale. I used to quit one trade right fast and be in something else back in the day. I've been through so many trades. I've been a roofer 1 year. Before you know it, I went to work one day and got aggravated and fed up with roofing. I came back home and sold everything got to do with roofing. Went to doing something else, totally different. I ain't stuck to one thing. I know how to do a whole lot of stuff. I ain't tied down to one thing. I got a lot invested in what I do now. That's one reason I ain't been so quick to switch trades is because I'm invested in it. But it still don't mean nothing to me. I ain't gonna be tied up to something just because I got a lot of money tied into it. Once I get to the point where I say I don't like it no more, I ain't gonna do it. I don't care what I got in it. I'm done with it. On to the next one. All right.